Welcome back to another episode of the Rabbit Hole Podcast. I'm Chris Hunter. I'm here with my man, my brother from another, Daniel Horton. What's up with you, man? How you doing this
day? How you doing today?
We doing good, man. We doing good. It's another day to be blessed. So we're doing well, man. We got a fun, exciting show for you guys today, man. This is right up our wheelhouse with some of the topics we'll talk about. We got Michigan basketball kicking off their exhibition season. And we're going to obviously talk about some Michigan football, man. That's always first and foremost in a lot of guys' mind and our fans' mind. So we're going to talk about that, man. What you had going on today, man? How's your morning and everything? Your day been so far, man?
Man, been good. Got a good workout in this morning. You know what I'm saying? Sent my son off to school. They start tryouts today. So I'm a little anxious for him because he's been looking forward to this day since last season. So ninth grade tryouts, he got a chance to make the team and do some good things. So I'm over here. I'm excited and I'm anxious for him. So hopefully they get started in about another hour or so. So hopefully he'll be home with some good news here today.
Be good. I know he's been putting in the work, so that's all it takes. You put in the work and you let it show and prove out there on the court. So that's good, man. What you work on this morning? You work on glutes, or what you work on, man? You trying to what?
We worked on shoulders and back today.
Oh, okay, shoulders and back. Okay,
working on my smack a Spartan motion this weekend from when I met the game. This weekend, Spartan say something. Get away from me.
Hey, there you go. There you go. We got to stay active, baby. I love it. Well, let's get into it, man. The Dusty May era begins. All right, Michigan basketball kicked off the 2024-25 season last night with a 92-48 charity exhibition win over Oakland at Little Caesars Arena. Man, we had 5 players in double figures, with Will Cheddar leading the way with 15 points, and Roddy Gale and Sam Walters adding 13 and 12 respectively. Man, so I was able to be at the game last night, which was a unique experience for me, from being on the sidelines to now being in the stands and seeing this game. But looking at this Michigan basketball team, there was a lot of things that I liked and a lot of good takeaways. I think, first and foremost, anytime you have a new coach that gets hired, he's going to go into his introductory press conference and he's going to have his keys on how he wants to play and his vision for the team. And you can have a montage of coaches saying, hey, I want to play fast. We want to play smart. We're going to get after it on defense. We're going to share the game. All of those kind of coaches tropes that you see. But with this team, I think you saw a lot of those things last night. There were really, really good signs and key takeaways. I think the first thing for me was the pace. Pace. These guys played with great pace. I like the fact that they had multiple guys who can push and make decisions. So it wasn't, guys getting the rebound and looking for one point guard or outlet to push the ball up the floor. You had multiple push man. You had our big guys and Danny Wolf pushing the pace and initiating some offense. You had the guards on the floor initiating the offense, whether it was Roddy Gale or anybody who got that ball and was pushing it up the floor and making plays. So that was good to see those guys be able to get early offensive positions and really play fast and unselfish. The ball movement was another thing that was really, really impressive that I saw from them last night. I was sitting in the stands with my son, and he was like, yo, these guys are really moving the ball and sharing the ball. I wish my AAU team would pass the ball and move it. So they were really sharing the game and moving the ball and finding the open guys, and you can see how he wants to play and what the coaches have been emphasizing. And then secondly, the three-point shooting. Half of their field goal attempts were three-point shots last night. They shot 42% on 15 field goals made. So it was good to see those coming from a variety of places. You saw our big guys taking threes. You saw our wings, point guards, guys coming off the bench, everybody moving the ball and stretching the floor. So what were your thoughts? I know you didn't get a chance to see the game live, and you saw some highlights, but just seeing those highlights and the way folks move, what were your initial thoughts on seeing this team for the first time?
I know for me, I'm happy for a guy like Will Cheddar, right? He has a chance to reinvent himself. He has a fresh start, a new coaching staff. He gets to go out there and play probably a little bit freer than he played last year, and you can see some of the results from that, that improved confidence and improved ability You know what I'm saying, this weekend. So that's one of the good takeaways I see, because they're gonna need, it's the Big Ten. You're gonna need as many good bigs as you can possibly get, especially when willing to play big. So
yes,
you need as many of them as you can. So I think that was a good takeaway. I think, I want to get excited about the pace. I want to get excited about the ball movement and 3-point shooting, but it was kind of a tailor-made opponent, right? One team is pushing the ball this way, another team is actually running back that way with you, trying to sprint back to their zone. So it's going to make everything look a certain way. It's going to look a lot faster than as opposed to what this team is actually trying to stop the ball and slow the ball down. So I'm interested to see how they build going forward. But like you say, for like the first exhibition game, the first competition against someone not wearing an amazing blue jersey, they look pretty good. I don't know what that means for predictions and what the season will look like, but for as a coach, for like our first step out there against somebody that's not us, I would be pretty happy with what I saw Saturday. The like you said, 15 for 42 from three. The pace, the versatility from certain positions. All that stuff bodes well and leads to you being successful when the lights really come on.
Yeah, for sure. When I was there, I wanted to see, do guys look the part? I said, okay, yeah, they look the part. You got a bunch of guards and wings who have Big Ten bodies, who are anywhere between 6'2", 6'5" out there that can do multiple things. So you have yourself a base level of athlete there that you can work with, and that was very, very good. And then the second question that everybody wanted to see, they've been hearing all of the rumblings about this big lineup with Golden and Wolf. How would that work out? And really seeing Danny Wolf in person, it's like, okay, this guy is smooth with the ball. He's fluid. He handles well. He moves better than you think he moves. He gets up and down the court, and he's versatile, especially on the offensive end, with being able to shoot from the outside, drive, pass, and make plays. So you can see how that synergy works with him and Golden. Now, can they continue to play him on the 4? On the wing when we get to some little better opponents who run some different offenses? And, last night, they played against an opponent where they were switching pretty much everything, 1 through 4. And then when Golden wasn't out there, they were switching 1 through 5 because of what, Oakland tries to get you involved with a lot of screening off the ball, floppy action, and they want to shoot a lot of threes. So in their game plan, and kudos to the coach, hey, we're going to switch all this stuff, blow it up, and we're going to contest and try to limit your three-pointer tips as far as getting clean looks and get contested looks. And, we're switching that. You have the opportunity of, having some miscommunications and giving up some slips to the basket. And there was a couple of those instances in the game, but for the most part, the game plan was successful. So it's great to see those guys be able to execute. But can we rely upon that? Guys like Sam Walters and Danny Wolf being able to navigate wing screens and guard wing players. I think it still leaves a lot to be desired, but the versatility, especially offensively, is there. And it'll be interesting to see how these coaches defensively, depending on the game plan and scouting report, how these guys curate those defensive schemes to best suit their most efficient lineup. So, it was great for me to see that, man. I think it's a great start for Dusty May. You got a good opponent on Friday in Toledo coming in the building, who always has really, really good teams. And Coach Todd Kowalczyk runs really, really great stuff. So it's going to be great to see a little different style of basketball and not them playing against that 1-3-1 zone. Maybe some man-to-man, different things like that, to see how those guys can navigate it, man. What are your thoughts about how this kind of rotation is going to shake out? He started all newcomers. Nobody who was left on the roster last year was in the starting lineup, all newcomers. What do you think about that rotation and how that's going to shake out and play out for the season?
No, that's good. I think if you can put 2 7-footers out there and they complement each other well, you do it, right? But I would caution them to not get caught up in the 7-foot ball handler thing, right? Like it's different if he's like the point guy in like a Princeton style offense, or the high post guy out to the 3-point line, initiating offense, attacking closeouts off the dribble, or turn and face and pick and pop, whatever, where he's making decisions on the perimeter, not necessarily like navigating ball handlers as the primary ball handler, or navigating pick and rolls as the primary ball handler, right? And we didn't see any of that because they were in the 1-3-1 zone. Yep. But Dusty kind of hinted that was something that they were looking at doing. And I would caution against that, especially when you get into the Big Ten. Like, these players and coaches are really good, and you can end up in some, even with the switching, right? Like, especially with a team full of new guys, like that takes a lot of practice and a lot of communication to be able to switch everything, right? And you saw some of that last night where poor communication or a late switch or whatever, guy slips to the rim, now they get a dunk or easy layup. So I think the more they practice that, the more they'll get better at that. But I want to see them play the type of defense we know that's going to win in the Big Ten. Keep your guards, like you worked on the B-line, guard your yard, keep your man in front of you, weak side defense, contest shooters, defense, one shot, rebound, and then you get to all those beautiful things we saw them do on offense, play with pace, read and react, shoot threes, attack and transition. All those things only come if you defend in this league. You know what I'm saying? Maybe other leagues is different, but we know in this conference, you better defend if you want to do all the, fast-paced ripping and running you want to do. So
yeah, you got to be able to defend and rebound in this league, and it's it's going to be a very, very interesting exhibition season and early season to see how that takes shape. But from a first glance, a first look into the Dusty May era of Michigan basketball, it's a lot to be excited about, a lot to be optimistic about, and I think these guys and the coaching staff have put themselves in a position to have the season they want to have if everybody continues to grow and come together as a cohesive group, which the coaches seem like is being set to that. So kudos to them, and looking forward to see what's next for Michigan basketball. Should be an exciting season, and we're going to talk a lot more about that moving forward, man. So let's move into our next topic of the day. Man, our Wolverines. Football, man. We struggling in a lot of ways, man. It's at an axis point at this year, right? Okay, so we're 7 games into it, 3 quarterbacks into it, deep into conference play now. Is there a QB1 on the roster for Michigan football? I think that's the first and foremost, most glaring hole that we've seen here. Is there a QB1 on the roster for Michigan?
At this point, how can you say yes, right? From what you've seen, right? You haven't seen consistent quarterback play. You've seen moments where Davis Warren made some nice throws, where Alex Orji made a nice throw. Even Jack Tuttle, he made a nice throw here, there, but there's no consistency at the most important position on the field, right? Yeah. And we know as your point guard or your quarterback or whatever, it's going to be hard to win if you don't have consistency at that position. So to answer your question, I would say no, but in saying no, there's opportunity there. There's opportunity there for somebody to step up and grow and take the role and take the bull by the horns and lead this team and get better and lead this team. Or there's opportunity for, a freshman that's not playing or a high school kid that's highly rated and highly thought of. There's opportunity there, basically. So, I would say no, but with the no, there's opportunity. So I hopefully someone steps up and takes that opportunity.
Yeah, I would say you're going to have to manufacture one, right?
Yeah.
So at this point for me, if I'm the coach and staff, I'm looking at realistically what this season is, how it's going to play out, all right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, you want to put the best person out there to help you win ball games in the immediate future. But does that hinder what could potentially be something to help you long-term to give you some information on what direction you should go in? So am I putting a guy like Jack Tuttle out there who's a 7th-year guy, no more eligibility left? Or if I'm putting somebody at least who has a potential upside with the program, who can grow and who can give me an option for next year? Like, right. Am I playing Tuttle if he's not going to help me win right now? I don't think so. I want to play one of the guys who has at least some upside for me next year, so I know we can get some reps with a guy who can at least be a potential QB1 for me this year and next year and moving forward. or somebody at least on the roster that has enough reps who can be a valuable or viable backup for me. So for me, I mean, I think I'm going back to Orgy.
Yeah.
And I'm leaning into that identity where we're going to be smash mouth and we're going to try to get this guy to continue to grow as a thrower of the ball and reading the game in that way. I can't, you know, if you're really reading my brain, I'm like, we don't want to see Jack Tuttle no more. Listen to that song. We don't want to see him no more. 7th-year guy. He doesn't have a future with Michigan, and I've seen enough, in my opinion, to say, hey, let's put somebody out there who at least has some runway with the program. All right, this is not his last stop with a program. Let's put somebody out there with some runway. What are your thoughts about that sentiment of playing for now but preparing for the future?
I agree 100%. Like, as what do they always say in sports, Chris? If I have two guys and they're similar in ability, they're even in ability and talent level, and one's a senior and one's a freshman, or one's a sophomore and one's a senior. I come from a coaching family. The old adage is I'm going with the younger guy because I have more time with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like now, unless that older guy is just head and shoulders better than the young guy, but if they're even in any kind of way, I'm going with the young guy.
Yeah.
And right now, all of these guys have been equally as inconsistent, I want to say equally bad because Orgy hasn't turned the ball over.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, they've been equally
as
ineffective as each other has been in various ways. Like, you know, Davis Warren earlier, I mean, he really threw some good balls and like accuracy seemed to like be there, but then, you know, tried to do a little bit too much and turnovers and okay, good. All right, so let's go to the next guy. All right. We're running the ball, we're smash mouth, we get a good win against USC with Orgy, but we haven't really seen if he can throw the ball down the field the way the other guys have gotten opportunities to do. So we don't know. I mean, you obviously know that he has some limitations. Otherwise, the coaches wouldn't be limiting him in that way. They've been with him for years now. They've been in every practice. They've been in the meeting room. So they know what he can do. But I found it hard pressed to put a guy out there in Tuttle who, like I said, doesn't have the runway to even, if it's going to be this year, help you win the way you want to win or set you up in the future to at least have somebody with enough reps to say, hey, this could potentially be QB1 if he develops, or we got a viable at least second option for our program that has some reps that can do some things for us. So and thinking about that, man, you know, a lot was said about the evaluation process in the summer.
Yeah.
With the QB room and everything else. Should we win the portal? How early should we have win the portal? You know, the Jim Harbaugh exit, did that, you know, hinder us from getting in the portal? But where do we go from here? Are coaching changes imminent? What do you see, you know, forecast? And it's tough, you know, me being on staffs and coaching, you never want to be calling for coaches' jobs in the middle of the season, right? Because there's still some runway for guys to do things. But what do you see as the future for this program as far as our coaching changes imminent for Michigan football under Sharon Moore?
If you mean coaches change, I mean people getting fired. I don't necessarily think so.
Yeah,
right. It's not good. But when you watch the film, there are guys open, right? There are guys running open now. Why we can't get those guys to football? Is it coaching? Is it development? Is it a lack of ability from the guys that they're asking to do these things, so including Orgy? We don't know because it's only been 6 games, however many it's been, right?
Yeah.
So like we know, but we do know that there is an issue. So I would say give these guys a little bit more time to work and do their thing to see if they can, you know, they can correct some of these things. And the one change I would say I would make, if Kirk Campbell was the quarterback coach and Sharon Moore is the OC, and now Sharon is the head coach and Buddy is Kirk Campbell is the OC, they probably need to go get a quarterback coach. Right? I know they have more coaches on the staff now. I don't know how they have their staff arranged, But if you want to develop quarterbacks, what it seems like with how much time goes into developing the game plan, or how much little time you have to develop a game plan from week to week, it seems like you should have, if you're trying to develop your QB room, you should have somebody specifically dedicated to that, not a guy that's pulling double duty. Now, some places they do that, but obviously at Michigan, there's been some sort.
We ain't been able to do that. Yeah,
right. Like something
is missing there.
Right. The offensive coordinator can develop you within the system and the scheme, right? But that quarterback coach is the one helping you work. Like in basketball, he's the one working on help you. He's rebounding for you while you're working on your jump shot, giving you pointers on, hey, you got to keep your elbow tight. You got to follow through better. Hey, your footwork got to be better into your dribble, into your pull-up jump shot. Hey, when you shoot off the dribble, your last dribble should be pounded into the floor. That way the ball comes back to your shot. Like all those little things we teach in basketball, they should have somebody teaching those things. Like this is all he does. He doesn't do this and then go create a game plan. No,
he's player development. He's coaching all of the finer details. He's in the film study with you that's going to help you develop as a player, because obviously there's some deficit in our development when you got, guys who've been on the roster for multiple years. And none of these guys at this point seem prepared or developed enough to be able to take over your program at this level. And that's definitely, I'm sure the coaches would agree, that's a failure on their part of not getting somebody in here to be able to do that and developing these guys on that nature. And that's something that you can grow into. Like, that's why they get paid the big bucks. You got to make these decisions, and you got to be able to grow and develop the talent that you have, as well as recruit and retain and forecast your needs for the future. So, like I said, I never want to call for coaches' jobs because you know how much work and time are put in it, and you're relying upon the athletes to be able to execute and do the things you need to do. As much as we want to think that it's professional and it's going that route, at this point, these guys are not professionals, and they still got to go to class and do all this stuff. So the time invested into their craft is somewhat limited because of their other obligations. So you never want to just call for a coach's job, because you never know inside those walls all of the dynamics that coaches have to navigate and deal with. But if I'm thinking about the future, I want somebody with some runway, and I want a quarterback who's going to play with some runway. And it's going to be some tough decisions that's going to have to be made, towards the end of the year if the trend of this continues, because we got to get somebody in here who can play and put us in the best position. And that's all around. That's quarterback, that's offensive line, that's all that stuff needs to continue to get better. But winning the chip and losing the amount of folks that we lost last year on the roster,
it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough year, but I still got faith in what we can do under Sharon. But it's some learning and some growth all the way around.
You got to pour more resources into improving that position group, right? Whether it's
resources. What you mean by resources? You mean moolah?
I mean all the way around. More time and resources, right? The guys that are currently involved in the process, they got to put more time in. The players and coaches got to put more time into getting better, no matter what that looks like, right? If there is more time, right? Because they still only get 20 hours a week. So those guys got to be putting in time on their own to perfect their craft outside of what they're doing in the building. Then there has to be more time, more resources poured into recruiting guys to replace these guys eventually, right? And then that takes money and monetary resources. So you just have to pour more resources into the position group if it's important to you, right? Defensive line has been important. Offensive line has been important. They've recruited well and did other positions. Now it's time to say, hey, Michigan has to go out and not just one quarterback. We have to develop a quarterback room and develop. This has to be a position of strength for my tenure here at Sharon Moore. So hopefully we see that moving forward.
Yeah, we got to, but we will see, man. We got little brother coming up next week, so we got to put somebody out there who can get the job done. And my vote right now is orgy time again. It's time to have an orgy.
Yeah, if I had to choose between those three guys, I'm definitely going with orgy, right? A part of me wants to say play the freshman, but from everything, you know, listening to Devin and Sam and, you know, how detrimental that could be to his growth. Like, I guess I understand, but for me, hey, man, I'm watching true freshmen all over the country play. All of them are succeeding, but some of them are. How do you know if he's going to be one of the ones that succeed and one of the ones that don't unless he plays?
But you don't want to throw him out there to the wolves when you know that you got a lot of other deficiencies everywhere else. So can he overcome that with his talent level as a freshman? Don't know. But if he's just doing that, if he's just handing the ball off, I'm on Orgy. He can hand it off. So if we're not putting him out there in a position to be successful, then I'm okay. I'm okay with waiting and seeing how that develops. Now, if it gets really crazy, then you gotta give this young man a try at the end of the year.
You got 4 games.
You got 4 games to, you know, keep his eligibility. So we will see, man. But good, man. Hey, that's our topics for today, man. We're gonna keep it short and sweet. But this was a great episode today, man. And I look forward to talking, especially more Michigan basketball with you and seeing how this shakes out. So until next time, man, this is the Rabbit Hole Podcast with my man, Daniel Horton. I am Chris Hunter. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.